Welcome to Speed Round Sunday on the Parenting Roundabout podcast, where we share a mini episode from our past for your weekend listening pleasure. We'll be back tomorrow with a brand new episode.
So our topic today kind of branches off from my recent trip to Australia and then a question that Catherine had regarding a word that young people use a lot these days, which we were trying to decode. And it has to do with slang words. So do you use them? Have you heard anything interesting lately? Do you have a question about one of them? I mean, I know that my daughter was trying particularly hard to keep up with the Australian slang that they use frequently in their conversations. But I'm just wondering, Catherine, have you come across any interesting slang words lately?
Well, the question that I had was about the word extra, yes. Which I basically have an idea of what it means. Like, to me, it's like you take the word basic and you crank it up to extra. You know, right. Like it's a certain way of being that's just like a little over the top and it's extra. You know, it's more so than other things. But the other day on Instagram, one of my daughter's friends said that our whole family was extra. And I really didn't know if I should be offended or pleased or what. So Nicole talked me down and basically said that it was fine and it was probably a good thing. So I'm going with that right now.
Yeah.
Own your extraness. Decide that it was a good thing. And
because I can't quite figure out like what I would love to know, you know, what we're doing that's extra. But I can't ask my daughter, of course, because then she would know that I was reading the comments on her Instagram pictures.
Uh-oh.
So.
Oh, right. Yeah, you don't want to be the creeper mom, right?
No, so.
Well, does she know you're following her on Instagram?
Yes, on that account.
Well, then that's legit. If you're not sneaking.
Not, but I don't know if she realizes that I read the comments. Which basically are just like 100 times of, you're so pretty, you know, like that's all it is. But then when this extra came in, so I don't know. But what were some of the things that you heard in Australia, Nicole?
Yeah, give us some good Aussie slang.
Oh my gosh. Well, everything there either ends, it's a shortened form of the word and then it ends with an I or an O.
Okay.
So, and I think I did pretty good because I had lived there for a year. Like, my mom's Australian and I grown up there. And so I'm used to hearing the Australian slang. And I think I did pretty good, decoding it. My daughter her head was spinning. She's like, Mom, are they even speaking English? Like, for example, what would you think bottle-o is? Like, I'm going to the bottle-o.
Like a liquor store or something?
Yes, the liquor store, yeah. Or how about, I'll meet you the Sarvo, or the Savo. I can't even say it, the Sarvo.
I don't know.
This afternoon.
Oh.
Or
Starbucks?
No, if I say Arvo, ARVO, it's slang for afternoon.
Oh.
So I'll meet you the Sarvo.
Ooh, that's hard.
But they don't actually use the word, they don't pronounce R, so it ends up being Avo.
Right.
Huh.
And it's this afternoon. So it's like they speak English, but they have this whole other, this regional language that's going on. And it's just, what's the other one? Like even like the names of kids or names of people are shortened, like my cousin's son is named Max. And so everybody calls him Maxie. Like it's like they add an I or the daughter's name is Liv, so they call her Livy. Or it's just, there's an I or an O added to everything. So it was funny because when we went to this fellow's sheep farm and a bloke's sheep farm. Okay, that one doesn't end in O and I, but yeah. So we went to this bloke's sheep farm and he was explaining to us how the sheep are sheared, for their wool. And because he's total rural Australian guy. And my cousin was like legitimately, he was translating for us. Even though this guy was speaking English, he was using so much slang. He was translating for his sister, my daughter, because she was just like, what are you talking about? So anyway, yeah, those were kind of it was kind of interesting to see it through her light. So if you've ever been to Australia, you'll know that when they say throw another shrimp on the Barbie, you know what they're talking about.
That's the Australian slang that everybody in America knows.
Yeah, that's the only one.
Yeah, exactly. Oh no, there's a ton more. So it's kind of funny to
yeah.
Most of it you can figure out just by context, but
right.
Some of it you're like, what?
Yeah. In my house, a lot of times I feel like I'm the translator, because my kids both have language delays. My daughter in particular, she's always made progress, but she's made it on her own time. So she's now getting into a lot of slang, and she will hear things and she will figure out for herself what they mean, sometimes correctly and sometimes not.
Right.
Yeah.
So sometimes I'll hear her use something and it's like, I want to celebrate that she's using it. That's really great. You heard that somewhere and you figured it out and you had the confidence to say it. I don't want to destroy that confidence by saying, you got it wrong.
Yeah.
And if you say it that way, people are going to laugh at you. So it's always, I'm sort of always tiptoeing around that because I always want it to be a positive thing, but there's no way to correct somebody without embarrassing them.
Yeah.
So a lot of times I'll hear her say something, and then later on, sort of apropos of nothing, I will say, hey, you ever heard this phrase? Do you know what that means? And then I'll explain what it means. And she'll go, oh. So hopefully that, but a lot of times with slang, it's not that easy to explain.
No.
You can explain specifically what it means, but that's not really what it means. It's like, it depends on context, and it depends on who you're talking to, and it depends on the way you say it. There's like a million things that make it, it's hard to just sit somebody down and say, okay, here's how you use this expression. So we used to have a book, I think it was from Jessica Kingsley, about expressions for people with autism to help them understand, because of course that's very difficult if you're a very literal thinker, which to some degree my daughter is. Why don't you just say what you mean?
Yeah.
Why do you have to say it that way? Right. But there's some that are even more complex than that once you get into teen and young adult slang.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Some things I have to go look up. Am I going to give her what does this mean now? Maybe this means something different.
Maybe I thought it knew what it meant, but
yeah.
Well, that's when you need Urban Dictionary.
I do use Urban Dictionary. But sometimes Urban Dictionary is, sometimes, and sometimes it's like, it will give 50 definitions for something, and then one of them will be obscene. So you're like, well, is this what it means when people are saying it? Or is it these other perfectly innocent things? I don't want to take a chance. Mm-hmm. But I don't know if it's just somebody goes on Urban Dictionary and puts something obscene for every single word just to fake people out.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Most of it's legit.
I would not be surprised either, because I don't know how closely it's edited. But yeah, I do look things up online, and there's a number of different sources, and I kind of look for a consensus. Yeah. But even then, you don't know how language changes. If it's something from 2015, maybe it doesn't still mean that thing now.
Yeah, and
it's so complicated.
It's just so hard to explain. Like Terry, at one point on the group chat, you mentioned the word of the day from Merriam-Webster, the little podcast, and it's just like a 2-minute definition. And it's so interesting, and I find myself like, well, I know what that word means, but could I explain what that word means? No way.
Yes.
It's so hard to do. So
it really is. Language is complicated. I don't know, but it's especially the social weight of language and the nuances. And if you tell somebody that her family is extra and her mother reads that, what is she going to think? How did you mean that? There's like 5 or 6 different ways you could mean that, some of which are nice and some of which are not. And how does the listener necessarily know? No, I was using this Urban Dictionary definition number 3. What you're talking about is Urban Dictionary definition number 5. They alternate.
Yeah.
It's complicated, y'all.
It is.
We use small, easy to understand words on this.
We try.
Yeah.